So in this lesson, we'll talk about the 10 main players that you'll meet on a shoot and where they sit in the pecking order. Plus, I'm going to give you my 7 top tips for on-set etiquette so you can hear like a boss, whether it's your first shoot or you're a seasoned pro. So before we jump into it, I just want to talk about the mindset that helps me keep my role in perspective and sets me up with the kind of the context that I need to be successful. So here's how I think about photo shoots, right? All you really need to create a beautiful image is a photographer, well, with their camera obviously, and a subject, which is usually a model. You don't need lighting or clothes or hair and makeup. In fact, if you look at some of the most compelling beauty images of all time, they're really just simple and raw. So I really try just to keep it front of mind that I'm there as one of the team tasked with helping to create an image or a series of images. So here's how I see the hierarchy of image creation through the lens of the 4 main elements of an image in order of importance. What we're creating is 1, a photo. Who creates a photo? 2, the photographer. And what is the image of? It's the subject. So that's number 3. And then the 4th piece in the hierarchy of an image is hair, makeup, wardrobe, etc. So whatever the concept, idea, location or story is, the image is an image of a model solely created by a photographer, and we're there as the jazz really, just to help elevate the image or help bring the brief to life. So keeping this context in mind helps me start by being a good team player. So let's look at the 10 main players on a shoot and what the pecking order is. Number 1 is the client. That's the person that's paying you to be there, so be super nice to them. Number 2 is your art director or agency creative, who's the main person to listen to for direction and has to be your creative ally on set. 3 is the producer, who's the person that books you directly, and ultimately they decide if you get to come back again next shoot. So be super nice to them because they can get you on other jobs with other clients if they like you. Number 4 is the photographer. The photographer is your creative ally, the main person you need to align with technically, aesthetically, and cooperatively. You want to really quickly figure out how they direct the talent and if they like you stepping in or keeping out of the way. Stay close to them and do whatever it takes to facilitate them doing their job easily because they've got a lot going on, right? You don't want to make it all about the hair. 5 is your fashion editor or stylist. So depending on who the client is, this person might be a part of the glam squad with you in makeup, if it's an advertising job, for example, or they might be the senior creative producer if it's an editorial and they're representing the publication. And something to keep in mind is that in terms of hierarchy, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all pretty much equal, and depending on the job, any one of them might have a more senior voice on the day. And then number 6 and 7, that's you and makeup. You're pretty much equal in the pecking order, and you need to play nice together, make it easy for each other. Sometimes you'll work with a really senior makeup artist, so you guys could end up having more shoot experience than some of the other players on set. But as always, you're here to make the talent look and feel great and work together to get them on set on time. One little thing to be careful of is trying not to create a little gossip circle with makeup. Number 8 would be BTS or B-roll. And more often than not these days, there's someone shooting behind the scenes, so be nice to them, let them do their job, and let them know nicely if you have any contractual obligations where you're not allowed to show certain products. 9 is your assistants. So your assistants are your responsibility. Make sure they behave themselves and don't annoy the crew. It reflects directly on you. The other assistants are there for their artists, and sometimes they might help you by getting coffee, water, snacks and things like that, but try not to ask other people's assistants to help you unless it's offered by the artist. And then number 10 would be agents. Sometimes models will have their agents pop in to say hi and have a chat. This is really just about PR and networking and sort of relationship building. And on some occasions, an artist's agent might be on set all day to help produce for them if it's a big complex job and there's a lot going on. Now, of course, there's likely to be a lot of other people kicking around, like location scouts, studio managers, catering, truck, riggers, lightings, etc. But these are the main ones that you're going to work with regularly. Now, I'd like to give you 7 tips for etiquette on set. Number 1 is where you stand. Be aware of what lights you're standing in front of and make sure you're not blocking the light or throwing shadows onto the set or the talent. Never ever stand between the photographer and the monitor. They need to see what they're shooting, and the monitor's their tool to help them create. And on that note, stand back from the monitor so that the creative director and the client can see it. You don't want to be hogging it. Also, be careful of the photographer's cables, because tripping on the cables is tantamount to dropping a hairdresser's scissors on the floor. Number 2 is social media. Now, a general rule is don't post anything and don't tag anyone until the shoot is released. Of course, some clients do like BTS to be posted if the talent has a big following, so that might happen. And you could repost their content if they tag you, but try not to run around making your own BTS videos, and don't do selfies with the talent to post on your feed. Be cool. You're going to meet lots of famous people. Number 3 would be your voice volume. So no matter how fun or casual the environment is, you are at work. You have to behave like you're at work. So have fun and enjoy the human connections, but be mindful. We've all heard that loud laugher in the cafe. So don't be the loud laugher that dominates, all right? And number 4 is don't offer your opinion unsolicited. There's a lot of voices putting their oar in on what shot they like and what they don't and why. Keep your opinions to yourself unless specifically asked. Number 5, look after yourself. So most shoots are catered and you should be provided with meals and snacks, water, coffee, etc. But the world is changing and budgets are always getting squeezed. So it could be a good idea to have a few snacks in your kit just in case. Make sure you stay hydrated, especially on location, and wear sunscreen and a hat if you're shooting outside. So number 6 is timing, speed, and execution. And we touched on this in the last lesson about interpreting the brief. So hopefully you'll know what you're doing before the shoot day, although more often than not, you won't know exactly what you're doing until the morning of. So while the team's set up, with the lights and background and the rest of the crew eat breakfast and look at frocks and props and whatnot, you need to set up your workstation, make a quick plan and get cracking. You're there to work, right? And work to the conditions of the shoot and use your common sense when it comes to how much time to spend on prep, because you want your work to look amazing, but you don't need to spend 4 hours prepping a ponytail or doing a big 90-minute blow dry if the girl's going to be rolling around in the sand in the surf. Number 7, stepping in and doing checks. So this is a really delicate thing, when you should step in and when you should stay out of the way. Of course, you want to make sure the hair looks good, but not at the expense of the entire shoot. Me personally, I've made my career on being 100% attentive to every frame and kind of riding the energy and the connection between the girl and the photographer, and jumping in when it's really critical and making sure that I'm super fast so I don't kind of kill that vibe. And sometimes, you know, you get a sense that the girl needs a little love and attention, kind of a bit of an energy break. And in these cases, I spend a little bit more time touching their hair, telling them they look amazing, just giving them a little bit of kind of quiet, private cheerleading. But whatever the situation is, try and take Kenny Rogers' advice, right? You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. So that kind of wraps up this lesson. We've talked about the 10 players that you're likely to meet on a shoot, where they sit in the pecking order, and my 7 top tips for playing nice on a shoot. So yeah, see you in the next lesson.